didn't tell you guys, he ripped me.
Oh, you're live.
Yeah. Oh, so this is we are live on YouTube right now.
We just barely went live. Absolutely.
We're going a couple minutes early. Well, I want to get right into action on this thing because this is going to be an incredible show for anybody out there. I mean, it's like 3 weeks straight in a row of bringing on unbelievable guests that everybody knows these names, right? Boom. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Max Waxwell. Last week, we do Sean Terry. This week, we've got Carlos Reyes. All right. Now, listen. Carlos, we are all here in Phoenix. We all do business here. Carlos just came in. You can bring him in here so that we can introduce him. But Carlos started, and he's going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in 2016, he really started rolling with this business with his partner, Sal. And they took off and absolutely exploded out of the gates. Not only that, these guys are known for doing massive deals. Okay. They do massive deals. They do a lot of deals that are, 15, 20,000, but these guys do 6-figure deals all the time. Carlos has an incredible portfolio of different businesses, which he can certainly talk about, and we can go into. I want to now that you're on here, I want to dive into, because I think that this is a question that a lot of people have on their mind is, Carlos has like 20 different businesses. He's got a new office he just opened. He's got a coaching program. He's got All In Nation. He's got a podcast. He's got all these things. How do you schedule out your day so that you can be productive? People really want to know.
First and foremost, man, I am excited for today. I'm excited. Man. You got some real people in here. People that are doing the work. People that are on the grind, people that have been through the trenches, right? So that's why I respect all three of you. And TTP, I mean, thank you. You spoke on our stage during Freedom, and you did what you do. You absolutely crushed it. You brought the energy and flipped the house upside down. So thank you guys, Pace. Thank you, Jamil. You guys are putting in so much work right now, and it's definitely paying off, and I can see it. I know I can speak from firsthand experience. It's not easy, right? Doing what you're doing what we're all doing, serving the way we're trying to serve. It's not easy, but you know what? Somebody has to do it. So we might as well allow the ethical people with principles and core values to do it, right? So that's why I'm so glad that you guys are doing it. You know what's crazy? I was talking to Cody earlier, and Cody Sperber, because he's teaching me a lot about the game in so many different ways. Because he's been where we've been or where we may be at, and then he's moving on to other things, which is good for him, right? Good for him. And you know what? I feel like a lot of us, especially here, we chose the selfless road, right? Think about it this way. Pace, how long have you been in real estate?
Including being a contractor, about 11 years.
11 years. How many years have you been serving?
12.
No. How many years have you been publicly serving?
On Instagram and like helping people, probably 3-4 years.
Social media, trying to be omnipresent, as trying to like reach as many people like a Claudio Diaz here. How much time have you actually been trying to do that? Reach as many people as possible.
Years and years, hours and hours, every day.
Okay, I personally didn't see you come onto the scene until about a year and a half ago, right? That's kind of what I meant. I know that you've been in the game so long, and you've seen every angle of the game, but you've been you got the wholesaling hotline, you got the sub 2 stuff, you got all kinds of stuff that's actually changing a lot of lives. You see, because we all could have chose the path of just staying quiet, right? We could have chose the path of just staying quiet. Just, you know what? I'm going to be successful, and people will know about it. You know how many people I know that are like, I'll give you an example. This guy, one of my mentors that he, Ed Cobell, right? We're in a class with him. This guy, he made over $6.3 billion after the 2008 Great Recession, right? Nobody knows who he is besides like the top dogs, like the government knows who he is, and Israel, the country of Israel, knows who he is, and whoever's running Chase Bank and those guys, they all know who he is. But a lot of us at this level don't know who he is. And not that he didn't do that. He didn't do that on purpose, right? It's just he probably just didn't know any better. He's kind of old school, you know. He's an older gentleman and he's old school, and he just started to kind of come on the scene. You have so much knowledge to give. Every single one of you in here, you guys have so much knowledge to give. What are you going to do? Just keep it to yourself when you can change hundreds, thousands, God willing, at some point, millions of lives. And I feel like that's where everybody is now. And I'm just happy to see that. Look at how many people in Phoenix alone, right? You got, obviously Pace, Jamil, Brent, Jesse, Evo, Steve, all these guys, Cody and Sean and all these guys serving. Because whether we want to admit it or not, I'll be honest with you. When I had a job, anytime Cody Sperber would come up on the screen on Periscope, at that time it was Periscope, I was like, oh shit, what is he talking about? Boom, take a little break, and then write down some notes. Oh, did he just say he can take a house with $0? You know what I mean? Like, the usual stuff, right? So I just want to say, man, thank you. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, because a lot of us, we didn't have this programming coming up, right? We didn't have, and these are not on here on purpose. I'm actually going to do a YouTube episode of like some of the most impactful books in my life, right? We weren't reading Traction, and we weren't reading The Go-Giver, and we weren't reading The Magic of Thinking Big, and we weren't reading Scaling Up, and we weren't reading, Principles by Ray Dalio, right? We weren't reading this stuff. Our parents didn't say, hey, you should at least spend a few hours of your week educating yourself where it really matters. Think about that. I know for a fact, we were just trying to survive. We were just trying to get to the next day. My mom doesn't know anything about books. My mom doesn't even speak English yet. You know what I mean? So I just want to say thank you. And today's going to be a hell of a ride.
You know what the crazy thing is, Jamil, real quick, because this is for you, is you look at all the people you went to school with. You look at all the people you went to high school with or college with or that you grew up with. 99% of them have no idea what financial freedom is, what real estate is, like we speak to this we're so passionate, Carlos, to speak to your point, because this truly is a very, very niche, tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of special people that we speak to. And that's really why Jamil wanted to put this together. Go ahead, Jamil.
Well, I thank you for that, Brent. You're absolutely right. It's definitely something that is lacking in the educational system. We're not teaching people how to be financially free. We're teaching people how to become sheep. That's 1,000% what's happening. They spend 50 grand to go to college to come out full of wool. And that is not what we are doing here. What we are doing here is changing lives, impacting people. I love Carlos's Instagram. He is a world changer, disciple for Christ. And again, I'm humbled, Carlos, that you brought up the books that you've been reading. But I do want to shed a little bit of light on the fact that you and the All In team just released a book. And if you have that handy, Carlos, I'd love for you to show it to the people so that everybody watching, Carlos and the All In team just published the best wholesaling book ever, guys. If you don't have a copy of that book, ring the bell. If you don't have the copy of the book,
what a name, huh?
The 15 or 20,000 people that'll watch this over the next week, you better buy this book, okay? It's $4.99. It's already an Amazon bestseller, guys. And we have him here today answering your questions. I am so pumped. And with that, I'm going to bring on our first live guest, Ivan. Ivan, come on in, Ivan. Ivan is a friend of the show. He's been watching for some time, and he's got there you are. He's got a question for us, guys. Ivan, welcome. Tell everybody where you're from, how long you've been in the business, and then ask your question, my friend.
Gotta unmute him.
We can't hear you, bro. Oh, I'll unmute you. Okay, start over.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Hey guys, I just wanted to tell you first of all how much value you guys bring to our community. I mean, I want to thank all of you guys. You guys are beasts. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here right now taking the steps I'm taking. My name's Ivan. I'm in the Phoenix market, and I wholesale, and I'm flipping my house as we speak. My own house. I got in the game like 4 months ago. Quit my job. I have 2 daughters and told my wife, you know what, we're going on a journey. Hopefully you'll follow.
Where's the bell? He quit his job. Where's the bell? Where's the bell?
And Ivan, you just did your first deal, right?
Well, yeah, it was like a deal and a half.
Okay, talk about it.
Yeah, so I got a mobile home under contract for $65K. Man, Jamil, you were part of this deal, and we postponed closing date like 3 times. We had an issue with tenants; they didn't want to get out. It was a pain in the butt. I wanted to quit, honestly, because it just got crazy. The seller was in Florida. We closed a couple weeks ago. I got my first big check a couple of weeks, thanks to Keegley. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited, and I want to go full on. I want this to be my business model, and man, I love this. I want to do this.
Beautiful. What's your question, Ivan?
You are doing it.
You're doing it, man.
Do you want to do this, or are you going to do this?
I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it already. What
There you go. There you go.
All right, guys. So I've done 2 deals. If you guys could give me 3 steps to scale my business right now, what would they be? Like just fresh newbie, first deal. I mean, what would be the 3 steps that you guys could pour into me right now?
Carlos.
Get another deal, get another deal, get another deal. Go ahead, Carlos.
All right, so I tell a lot of my folks the same thing, right? I say, hey, listen, I know that everybody wants to scale, and I know that everybody wants to systemize. By the way, if I'm lacking, I'll switch. I got 2 different, like, these little Google things, right? So let me know. I'll switch to another one if I'm lacking on the internet here, all right, on my connection. So a lot of folks are so concerned about, marketing and niche lists and systemizing and everything and anything. And I tell people the same thing over and over and over, just like my man TTP just said. The number one priority never changes for us as real estate investors, and that is to acquire deals, to put deals under contract. Okay, that's priority number one. I don't care who's working with you. I don't care who's not working with you. I don't care how much in marketing you're spending. I don't care if you have all the systems, Podio and CarRail. And no, priority number one is let's get some deals. All right, and let's simplify this. By the way, let's simplify this, guys. In wholesaling, this is the Wholesale Hotline. Wholesaling is literally, it comes down to 2 things: marketing and sales. Sales and marketing. Then you have a bunch of stuff in between, like people and, obviously systemization and systems, like we just mentioned, CarRail, Podio, etc. Right? So, but don't forget, the simplicity of wholesaling is sales and marketing. That's what we do. That's what we do. It's sales and marketing. So you have to ask yourself, okay, am I marketing to see leads? Because the more leads that I see, the more conversations that I have, TTP, right? The more people that I talk to, the more shots I can take, the more deals that I can potentially close. You see that? You have to reverse engineer that process. So keep that in mind. Sales and marketing and sales. Do not lose track of priority number one, because you know what? If you start to make enough money, guess what you get to build? If you handle it the right way, if you're a good steward with the money and you pump a lot of that back into your business, then you get to build this machine. You see what I'm saying? This machine that started with one individual, right? You start to make enough money, which priority number one is to lock up deals. Oh, I got enough money to actually hire an acquisitions guy. Oh, I got enough money to market a little more. I got enough money to hire a transaction coordinator. Oh, I'm keep making money. I'm getting all these deals. Okay, well, I'm going to hire a junior acquisition manager, a disposition manager, to the point where God has blessed us to where we have a freaking CFO in the office and we have a COO in the office. We have a business development manager. You see what I'm saying? But the priority number one never changed. Let's get deals.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Carlos, can I distill what you just said down to two concepts? Because what I caught from that was there's marketing, right? And then there's infrastructure, right? And so because the two are required in scaling, 1,000%. Would you direct Ivan to increase his marketing or start to build out infrastructure in his path to scaling?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. Increase his marketing.
Should he increase his marketing or should he start building infrastructure? What do you think is more important for him at this stage right now?
Okay. Ivan, I guess we can really start asking you some real questions, right? So here we go. So what's your marketing budget per month and what are you doing? Like what are your marketing channels right now with the marketing budget that you have?
So my marketing budget right now is around $500. So that's, I'm pouring, I want to pour in 50% of my last check into the business. I just want to know what the best way to invest that in. So
how did you find that deal?
I found it in Facebook Marketplace.
So,
and what did that cost you?
Nothing.
$2. Yeah. So now you're giving all of us, right? This is the beautiful part when you're in a room with people that actually do business, right? Because there's a lot of people out there right now that are just full of shit. So you're in a room with a lot of people that do business. And the first thing that TTP asks you is like, how'd you find the deal? Oh, you didn't spend no money on that deal. So I wouldn't stop that, right? So with $500, I can tell you this, that was me and Sal's marketing budget in the beginning, $500 to $700. We actually started October 18th of 2015 is when we went to the Sean Terry Flip to Freedom. And then we just kind of became obsessed for a few days. And then we started taking massive action. Now, bandit signs don't really work here in Phoenix, right? But they work obviously in like Texas, like San Antonio and Dallas. And so bandit signs don't. So we kind of I wouldn't tell you to waste your energy and your money on bandit signs right now. Okay. But with $500, what you can do is you can put yourself a nice little cold calling structure for yourself. Okay. When I started cold calling in 2016, I was using Mojo. If you go to allindialer.com, by the way, it's not our company. We get a break on the pricing because we have so many reps that use ZenCall. So before we actually started working with ZenCall, we tried everything. We tried call tools. We tried, obviously it was Mojo at some point. We tried everything, right? And we ended up with ZenCall. So if you go to All In Dollar, you get that for $90 a month. So Ivan, what do you have to do with that dialer?
Train them.
No. What are you talking about? You have to make calls. You can't afford someone right now to train. You can't afford to train anybody.
Okay.
You need to start making calls.
You're talking about a dialer, 2-dial, obviously, right? Sorry, I got.
Yeah. So you get this dialer. Yeah, you select a couple of lists. Let me just give you some lists that I prefer, especially during COVID-19. Is I like the vacant 30% or more equity on from List Source. I like that list. I like the 30, 60, 90-day late list from Citricato. I like the inheritance list. I like the probate list. And I always sprinkle on pre-foreclosures and tax default because there's not too many of them. And most of that stuff is free anyway. You can get it from the county or you can get it from the title agency. All right.
Okay, do you remember what Sean Terry told us last week? How much you have to make and how many months you have to make it before you hire somebody?
I don't actually remember that, but it was really good.
3 months, 30 grand a month before you hire anybody. You put your heart and your sweat and your tears and your blood, like in the beginning, and you can ask Carlos, you can ask Jamil, you can ask Pace. I mean, we're still doing it to this day, but it was nonstop. 3 hours of phone prospecting every single day, reaching out to people, having quality conversations every single day. The point is, when you said, I want to reinvest 50% back into it, I wanted to cringe. I wanted to shake you, Ivan, and say, no, save all that money, save it up, build it up, keep that for yourself. Use your efforts, your talents, your skills. You already got a deal for free. You went from it being like hoping that you can get a deal and having faith that you can get a deal to crossing that bridge to now it's a fact.
Yeah.
Let's do it again and again.
You know what, Brent?
Hey, can I jump in here for a second? Because I think the challenge is that well, first and foremost, Carlos, you're the man, bro.
Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you.
When I was a home investor, I went to the All In event.
You were a home investor.
My daughter was born that night, and my wife was like, "You have to go to the All In event." Still to this day, one of the best events I've ever been to. It was what helped me gain courage to disconnect from the home investor model.
Thank God. Yeah.
I owe you millions of dollars of gratitude.
I'll just take a hat.
All right, we'll give you a hat. So, Ivan, I think the challenge is you see a lot of these guys like Brent Daniels, Jamil Damji, Carlos, Sal, Alex, all these amazing guys, and you don't get to see the grind and the hustle for the first couple of years anymore, right? Because they're no longer going through that grind and hustle, right? So the first 2 years I was in wholesale, it was just me and my wife. That was it. Me and my wife, she would handle all the calls. I was out in the field going on all the appointments. And then at the same time, I had a full-time job as owning my own construction company, and I was doing all open doors renovations. So we had 165 employees that I was managing as a contractor and doing 8 to 10 wholesale deals a month.
Wow.
Carlos doesn't know this, but honestly, it was Carlos is about that same time that I went to the All In event that I go, oh my gosh, there's something better. And that was when I started to scale because you guys showed the blueprint in your All In event. So I owe you, Sal, Jaden Pudney, all your guys that work for you. Carlos, I owe you all a debt of gratitude. But the fact is, Ivan, it took a couple of years with me and my wife making a couple $100,000 a year to justify hiring another position and starting to scale. That's my personal opinion.
Wow.
I truly do believe that, Ivan.
Because that's completely against of maybe what I've heard out there. You know, it's like I hear all the time. You have to get a VA. You have to have somebody calling and dialing for you, and then you'll just come and close the deal. So I mean, this makes a lot. I like this strategy a lot better.
Ivan, let me say something. How much money are you making off this deal that you're getting?
7,500.
Okay, so plus your 500, so you're about $8,000. That's actually a pretty good. I think you can do some damage with that. I think you can probably get, I would say 2 to 3 deals off that $8,000. To be honest with you, you know what I mean. You're not going to get nothing crazy, but you'll get 2 to 3 deals out of that. And I feel like you could hire if you don't want to put in that, that freaking work, right? I'm talking about like the reluctant, if I'm going to dial for 6 to 8 hours, so I'm going to make about, 800, 1,200 dials, and I'm going to produce 2 to 4 leads. And, I'm just going to sit here and do that because that's actually the KPIs for dialing, right? Then I would suggest that, you could afford a VA right now, right? You could afford a VA right now. And then all you have to focus on now that this is more efficient and effective, right? If you can just focus on locking up deals. Yeah, if you could, I didn't have $8,000 in my first month to play with. If you have $8,000 to play with, then I'm not sitting here telling you not to hire a VA and you just focus on locking up these deals. Now, what I am going to tell you is you need to continue to sharpen up your sales skills, right? You need to sharpen up your sales skills because you want to convert as high as possible. And that's why you have to listen to people whenever one of these guys goes live or, whatever TTP has for training, because I hear nothing but good stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like get on that, get on that. Sharpen up your sales skills so you're not wasting the $8,000 that you're going to spend.
Yeah. I love your strategy a lot more One, because like what Brant said, I get to keep my money and I get to sharpen my skills, and that's what I need right now. I need to sharpen my skills because I'm no expert like you guys, you know. So,
Brother, but none of us were experts when we started.
Right.
Right? I didn't know shit about real estate, and I'm sure some of these guys probably didn't know nothing about real estate either at some point.
Nope.
Every expert was once a beginner, you know?
Ivan.
Hey, Carlos, can I ask a question? You were on live yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I was really getting a kick out of it. I love your energy. But I think a lot of it has to come down to some of these gurus who aren't actively doing the business. They have something to sell. And so they're pulling all these new people 25 different directions, and they have actually they don't have bad intentions. They just don't have good intentions for these guys trying to learn this business. What do you have to say about people that are pulling people in the wrong direction, maybe?
So this is what I do have to say about something like that, right? And I feel like that's why it's so important for us to actually start regulating that kind of stuff, you know? And it's never really been publicly regulated. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like it's time for people to start regulating this kind of activity. Why? Because in my opinion, if you've never taken the risk and if you never done the trench work, how are you going to show somebody else? You're selling dreams. You're literally, I mean, you might as well go read a book and try to learn it from there, right? Because you've never spent $1 million in a year in marketing. You've never had personnel, and you can't even tell these people how to even scale their business, and you've never put in the trench work. If you're not locking up deals yourself, how are you going to show other people how to lock up deals? At that point, you're kind of just selling them the idea and the concept, shit that, prefabricated, recycled information from people like you guys and me and everybody else out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe in these fake gurus. I really don't. And I never will. Never will.
Guys, my thoughts here are 100% in alignment with everyone that's spoken. Ivan, my thoughts are, you made $7,500. How much does it cost for you to live every month?
2 to 3K?
2,500.
You've got 3 months worth of living expenses in your bank right now, right? What I would suggest you do for the next 3 months is double down on the free stuff, okay? Double down on the Facebook marketing. Double down on calling Zillow. Double down on finding lists. Pace loves to hand out leads for people to call. You hit my boy up. He will give you a list of numbers to call and then JV the deal. I mean, bro, believe me, okay?
Yeah, Ivan, come down to my office tomorrow. We've got a couple people coming down. We're going to give them a free list, and we'll JV with you on any of those deals. We'll skip trace them. We'll give you everything.
I'll be there.
Everywhere that we're buying rental properties or we're doing flips, I'll give you the list. You call them.
There you go. Buy the all-in dialer. That's like, I don't know,
$90 a month. It's what Mojo charges $140
get in it. Get in it, bro. What you can do right now for very little money is going to 1,000% change the trajectory of your life and your family's life. Don't spend money. Don't spend money. Put your time out there. There's so much free information. You've got goats everywhere here. You got Carlos giving you a game. You got Pace giving you a game. You got Brent Daniels giving you a game. I'm talking shit. Everybody's over here helping you, giving you the tools that you could possibly need, and no one's charging you a dime, brother. You get out there and you make it happen. It's all on you, homie.
Ivan, real quick, from when did you start to when did you get paid on your first deal? How long?
Like 2 months and a half.
Incredible. I'm telling you, 2.5 months of going, and then getting paid. This is for everybody out there. Look at Ivan. Ivan did this. You can do this.
Wait, you did this in 2.5 months?
Is the most proven path to financial freedom. Ivan, for that first deal, brother, here you go.
Let me, guys, if you don't mind, let me send away with something. I don't know if you have a pen and a paper near you, but these are some KPIs that I want you to track when you're doing some dialing, okay?
And guys, this is you can watch this on the replay if you don't.
Okay, so I want you to track your leads. You should be probably producing about 2 to 4 leads every single day you're dialing. If you're not producing 2 to 4 leads per day, then that means that you're probably not spending enough time on the phone. You got that?
Or your list is really bad. You got
to get to that.
Out lists.
We're going to get to that, right? So dials, I want you to do 800 to 1200 dials, okay? That's probably a 6 to 8 hour shift. You said you quit your job? You got the time, baby, okay?
Hey,
right.
Carlos, I've got a question about the lead, just FYI, because this pops up a lot with people that are new. They don't know how to qualify a lead. So you're telling Ivan a pretty good KPI. What would you say the bare minimum is to consider that a lead? Is that somebody that's just willing to sell or somebody motivated to sell?
No, anybody that says I am interested in hearing a cash offer from you, that, you know, why would you even, I mean, think about it, right? Even if you get 1 out of 100 of those and you make 30,000, is it worth it? Absolutely. Right. So you got your dials, you got your leads, your minimum leads. Let's talk contact ratio. I would like you to be at 10% plus. Now we're getting to the health of the list that Brent was talking about. I would like your contact ratio to never drop between 7 to 10%. Now, anything above 10%, you have an explosive list. You are because we know the more contacts that you make, the more people you talk to, the more leads you produce, the more deals you can acquire, right? So let's get to your cost per lead. I think in Phoenix, Arizona, you're probably going to be between $30 to $60 cost per lead on the cold calling side. And last but not least is your cost per deal. Now, your cost per deal is determined how many leads did it take you to get that one deal? Well, if it took you 50 leads at $60, then that's your cost per lead. You multiply 60 times 50. Your cost per deal is probably going to be anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000. You're probably going to be anywhere from 50 to 70 cold calling leads to get that first deal, which could take you, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Now, I just broke that shit down to where now you know what to expect, because real estate is a numbers game, brother.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate that, bro.
Ivan, we appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on, man.
And Ivan, go ahead. Sorry, Jamil.
No, please, Brent. Please.
No, it is a numbers game. It's also a mindset game. When you're making those calls, I want you to imagine that I am giving you $1,000 every hour that you make calls. Because if I was literally standing in that room right there in your kitchen, giving you $1,000 an hour, I would have to tear you off the phone every day. You would be obsessed. When Carlos is talking about 6 to 8 hours, you'd try to do 20. You'd be going crazy if I was standing there giving you $1,000. But that is the absolute facts of this. People are doing that every single day of the week, whether it's you or anybody else here listening. Why not? Let's go.
As entrepreneurs, Ivan, we have to mindfuck ourselves more than anybody in this world, right? Let me ask you this. Are you willing to take 1,000 no's before you get a $50,000 yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay. But, here comes the mindfuck part, right? Well, I'm willing to take 1,000 no's, but I got to go into every single call like it's going to be a yes.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So, again, brother, do not get discouraged. You are right now in what we call the eat shit stage, the eat shit phase. We've all been through it. There's not one entrepreneur out there that didn't go through the eat shit phase. So you're not alone. Everybody's been through it. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But you are in the eat shit phase. All right. You should praise God that you don't have to eat ramen noodles every single day, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. If you listen to a story like Andy Frisella, he's eating ramen noodles and sleeping on the couch somewhere. So you're in a house, you got air conditioning, you probably got some decent food. Be grateful of that and get on the phone, brother, okay?
Will do, bro. Will do.
My man. Ivan, how do people find you, dude?
It's Jasso Official on Instagram. Yeah, Ivan Jasso on Facebook.
Awesome. Everybody, friend Ivan Jasso. He's a friend of the show. He's amazing. He did his first deal. Thank you so much for being with us today, Ivan. We appreciate you. Keep tuning in, man. Your question was absolutely fantabulous.
Thank you, guys.
We lost pace. Awesome. That was brilliant, Carlos. You absolutely crushed it. What fantastic advice, Brent. Again, it infuriates me, Carlos, to no degree, just how much nonsense is out there and how much people are charging for nonsense.
But see, those full of shit people can't break down the business that way because you got to be in the business to know those kind of numbers.
No, because you're giving instruction. You're not giving education. They want to give education, but education doesn't, I mean, you might as well go to college. You know what I mean? Like most
or
of
read a
the
book.
education. Yep. That's it. So,
Yeah.
it's instruction. That's the whole point of this whole thing. I don't know where Pace went. I hope he jumps back on, but we are, he's in the room next to me. So.
I like this, guys. This is actually an amazing, I got to commend you guys. This is an amazing concept. Like I was like the wholesale hotline. So people actually come on here.
Yep.
Yeah, people come on. And guys, I want to introduce our next guest because the next guest is a dear friend of mine. She's an author. She wrote a book, and I'm going to let her tell you guys all about it. But this is Stephanie Peters. She is amazing. She's a dear friend of mine. She's a published author. She is running a wholesale operation in Florida. I don't want to take too much away from you. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Oh, Jamil, it is such an honor to be here. I am so blessed. And I have to say, it has just been phenomenal diving into this wholesaling business and just the amount of support of so many different people. Like Jamil, you have been a freaking godsend. Nick Perry has been incredible. Jeremy Tagg, Steve Trang with like his podcast. It's been phenomenal. So I just want to say thank you for being you and just like really making an impact. Like even what Carlos had just said, it's just so great to know that there's people that have your back in this industry. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you being on, Stephanie. Give us your question.
Yes. So I actually came from the whole network marketing arena and scaled that business. And it's been a phenomenal stream of residual income. And so I took my first $1 million that I made there and started to invest it in real estate. So I've been a real estate investor for a little over 10 years, really enjoying that journey. But then one of my friends who became a business partner, he pitched me last year and he said, Steph, I'd love to partner up with you as far as the wholesaling business. And he has had a lot of success so far. And he said, hey, I'm going to take acquisitions, you take disposition, go team. So my question for you guys is, if you were just starting out and you said, hey, I want to start from A to Z to really build out the systems, the team, everything that I need for the infrastructure to really scale the business, how would you start out? What would your daily mode of operation look like? I've already done quite a bit of dispo, but I want to learn from the best and the experts.
Amazing.
Who wants to go first? I think everybody has to get their cut. Let's do
it. I'll hop in real quick. Stephanie, the key that I looked at when we started building out Keegly into what it is today was we looked at what are the fundamental operations that happen every single day? What pieces of the puzzle do we need? There's acquisitions, there's transaction coordinating, there's dispositions, there's all these little pieces, right? And so you try to take on as much of that on your shoulders in the beginning as possible. But scaling that, you've got to look at what are the pieces of that puzzle that I, A, don't enjoy, and B, I'm weak at. Then you have to go out and network in your community and squad up. You got to find people that absolutely fit that bill, that can come in, partner with you like you did with your business partner right now. He had already had success in wholesaling. You wanted to get into it. He said, come be my dispo. He had the right idea. He said, come join in because he didn't enjoy selling houses. He didn't enjoy the disposition side. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but he put you there, right? So he's got you in it now. You're selling the deals. Where are you lacking? Where in the business right now are you finding fundamental holes? That's where I would focus first. Remember, everybody's wholesale business is going to be different. I can promise you, I run a shop as big as Carlos is, and if you came to my shop and went to his shop, they're going to look different. Yeah. They're going to look absolutely different from each other. Why? Because Carlos focuses his business on the things that he feels are most important for his business, right? I focus our business on the things that I think are most important for us. These guys are acquisition monsters. Like you go to Carlos's office and there's 50 sharks in that room ready to get in there, get on the phone and just like that's all they're doing. They're in there hustling up deals, getting deals. That's what their operation looks like. If you come to my operation, it's a little different. They're on the phone selling deals. They're trying to to disposition, move those contracts for other wholesalers and for our own deals. So you've got to really focus on first of all, what part of the business do you want to focus on and be a specialist at? And then secondly, whatever part of the business that you're lacking at, fill that first and build from there.
Love it. Oh, thank you, Jamil.
Stephanie, can I ask you a question? So we get this question a lot, and I love it. It's probably one of my top 3 favorite questions, but let me repose it back to you. Are you wanting to know if we had our experience and we were stripped of all of our resources back to zero, or do you want to know if we were to start all over again with no experience?
I would say if you didn't have any experience, I'd like to know what that would look like. If you let's say you were dropped in Florida and you had no experience, you didn't know how to build a list, you didn't know how to sell, you didn't know like what negotiation type of skills you needed.
I know exactly the answer to this. So I'm going to give you 2 answers. Answer number 1 is I would find the people in my area that are doing the business, and I would go work for them and ask them to teach me while I put my hustle in and learn everything. Like, look at a guy I look up to, I really like him, Jaden Pudney, who works for Carlos, Reyes, and Sal. Right? Carlos, he came and worked for you guys, and now look at him. He's a disposition monster, right?
He's actually an asset manager. He's no longer dispositioning, really.
Right. That's right. He brought you guys.
He handles all the projects now.
But he came and worked for you guys, and you guys didn't even want to hire him originally, right?
He was a bird dog that came from not Fortune Builders. What was the Mike Lima?
True Freedom Achievers.
True Freedom Achievers, yeah. And you know what? His role, it wouldn't be so effective if he was an acquisition guy. I mean, the guy's not a good acquisition guy, right? But yet he put in that grind. Like, he was driving a 1980-something truck, an hour one way and then an hour back. He was outdoor knocking, leaving red little notes on doors in hot areas like the Garfield historic neighborhood, Coronado. And then he got like a deal or two, and we're like, hey, brother, you definitely earned your stripes. We want you to be our disposition manager. He was our first ever dispo guy, right? And then he slowly, he built his team. He has Isela and John under him. And then boom, now he handles private capital. He handles all the fix and flips, all the projects. He handles the listings with the real estate agents, and he even handles the transactions with the title company and our TCs. We have 2 TCs. So that guy built, he literally built his way from zero. So you're right. And the way that I want to answer her question is, she already has a partner. I think right now is a good time for you guys to kind of put some things together. One is, let me ask you this, are you guys 50-50 partners? Good. 2, are you guys both equally invested in the business monetarily and energy effort-wise?
Well,
great question.
He's really built out an acquisitions team. So he is a very well-oiled machine, and he's a very high-level entrepreneur, and he has a number of different businesses. So he doesn't put in near as much sweat equity, but I don't ask that he needs to do that, because he already has the infrastructure on his side to make it a well-oiled machine. For me, I'm willing to put in more sweat equity because I want to learn the ins and outs of dispo, and then I'll put the right people on the bus, and then I'll scale my side so that I'm not putting in as much time and effort to make it a little bit more of an equal playing field. But I'm good with where I'm at because I want to take the hit. He's been in this business and he already has put in the sweat equity.
Okay, so sweat equity wise, how much percentage do you think he puts in out of 100?
Rephrase the question as far as right now.
Okay, so you guys have an office.
Yeah.
Okay, how many hours a week are you in the office?
I'm in there 5 days a week.
5 days. Okay, I recommend 6. Saturday could be your half day. That's what me and Sal still do to this day, right? We go in there even on Saturdays. So especially early on, you're early in the journey of investing. So all right, so what does that equate to? What, 50 hours, 45 a week?
I would say probably around 50 or 55, give or take.
Okay, good. How many hours a week does he put in, as compared to you?
He puts in 1 day a week, but he has the right people in place that have multiplied those hours.
All right. So that probably would not work for me or Sal, right? Because when you're 50-50 partners, it's not this what you have, the model you have right now on your partnership, it's kind of not a good long-term plan. Because at some point, you're gonna be like, oh man, like this guy, it's been like 2 years, 3 years, and he's still not putting in as much, at some point you're gonna have those disagreements, right? That's why Sal and I, partnerships are hard. Like, ask these guys. TTP doesn't have a partner.
No, you don't want to talk to me about partners.
Okay, there you go. Pace has a partner, but they know their roles and they're equally vested somehow, some way, financially and sweat equity. So those are things that you guys are going to have to, at some point, that's a bridge that you're going to have to cross at some point,
Absolutely.
right? So right now, what I would also determine two things. One, partnership principles, because partnerships don't work. But if you put some principles in place, then you're at least setting yourself up for to have that relationship a little longer. Partnership principles are like core values to a company. Things that you just don't jeopardize, you don't mess with, no matter what happens, right? So, example, I remember there was something that we had to do, and Sal had to cancel a trip. Because why? One of our partnership principles is the company comes first. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So those are things that you guys should put together at some point, right? 3 is you have to determine your strengths. You said you're doing dispo, and he's doing acquisitions because he's already really strong at that. Well, who's doing the integration? Who's doing the books? Who's handling the multiple different angles, the multiple different areas of the business? It's not just acquisitions and dispositions. Right? There's still other things and other departments that you're going to build out within the organization. Just like I said, Jaden Putney is our asset manager because I sure as hell don't want to be walking no flips and talking to project managers. You see? So these are things that you guys have to put together at some point, and just be careful, like I said, because based off the base equity percentage that you told me, you guys are not set up for a long-term type of structure in agreement.
Yeah, no, I so appreciate that. And if there's any other words of wisdom or insight, I mean, I've done other partnerships in the past and it hasn't gone well. I feel like what's going on right now is going in a good direction, but also any wisdom. Yeah.
And while they're good, Stephanie, while they're good, it's time to start addressing the tough questions that Carlos was asking. He went in. I was like, oh, whoa, wow, Carlos, you're going right in on her. And
I have a partner. You know what I mean? I have a partner. That's why.
Hey, can I bring some up? Just some insight. I was lucky to see just in the last week. So Jamil, him and I are brothers. Absolutely love spending time with him outside of work. And we were lucky enough to go hang out up in Flagstaff at TTP's ranch this weekend. And Jamil on Friday afternoon, we're driving through Flagstaff together. I've got my little girl, my wife, and my little boy in the back. And Jamil goes, hey, guys, I'm really sorry. I've got a partnership call. Do you mind if I take it? Jamil's on this partnership call for, I don't know, an hour and a half. And what was amazing listening to this call, again, I've been around Jamil for years. We've traveled to half the country together.
Yep.
I'm listening to what his partners are doing during the week without Jamil's involvement, and how they communicate, and they basically are uploading the information and saying, this is what we did all week long. And then Jamil then returns and says, this is what I did all week long. They give each other homework, and then they go their separate ways, and they reconvene a week later. The stuff you will accomplish when you have a Sal and a Carlos, an integrator and a visionary, is unbelievable. Same thing in my business. I know TTP says he doesn't have a partner, but I know who his real partner is. It's TTP Senior. Do you know who TTP Senior is?
No.
It's his dad.
Oh.
His dad is his partner, and he's not an actual partner, but he runs the books. He runs the team so that Brent can do the visionary role. He basically brought on an integrator. So my thought is, Cody, my business partner, will spend all week long working on things that I don't even know about, and I will work on things all week long that he doesn't worry about or even know about. And then we spend a day together downloading and giving each other homework. And then we go our separate ways, knowing that each person is carrying not only their own weight, but the other person's deficiencies as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel like a guy he did one job, he set up an acquisition department. If you feel like that guy deserves 50% of your business and he's not actively solving problems in your business, he is not a partner. He is an employee.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No,
You can hire an acquisitions manager and pay him.
We didn't bring you on here to baby you, Stephanie. I'm sorry.
We're not done with
be real.
We're not done with you.
Is your partner sitting behind the camera right now?
Anywhere.
I know about my partner, just to let you all know, like, he is like the CEO. He takes care of a lot of things behind the scenes. I mean, he said he comes into the office 1 day a week, but he does so much to troubleshoot and keep deals together at the end. I'll call him up and I'll be like, this just happened and I don't know what to do to keep this together. Do this, this, and this. Boom. It's done. So like, he is like overseeing a lot.
It's kind of like an internship / mentorship.
I guess you could even just say that. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Stephanie, I've been quiet because these guys.
Let's go.
No, I have a lot of
double boom boom. Look.
There
boom,
you go.
Boom.
No,
Carlos.
first of all, you're in a huge position because you're good friends with Jamil. And when he introduced you, he said you're an author. Mm-hmm. You've built a network marketing business, mm-hmm. right? You've been successful in your life. That means there's an old rule of thumb with like really famous people that there can only be one headshot in the household. Okay, so you have the headshot. Okay, so you have to decide what you want to do with it. My suggestion is you take exactly what Jamil did to build his business, which is to become the guy in your case, the gal in your market that everybody brings their deals to, because you've already proven yourself as being able to squat up, to network, to go and meet people and to be kind and sweet. You can tell from your personality that you're naturally just going to like sink into people's personalities, right? Are you from the Midwest originally?
Minnesota.
Okay, come on.
Minnesota.
Here's the thing. They should just be dumping referrals on you. You should be dispoing left and right. And you should have an agreement with your partner that says, if people are bringing me deals and I'm dispoing, I get X% or whatever. Something that makes you happy and makes you guys, really stay connected. But you have the headshot. I mean, you're the gal. So I would highly suggest that you build a business based on referrals, people bringing you deals. You build up that cash buyer database. I mean, you're already a rocket ship. So just keep going.
What part of Florida are you in, Steph? What part
I'm
of
actually in
Florida?
Fort Myers, but our office is in Fort Orange. And then we have 4 different counties that we work in. We work in Brevard, Seminole, Volusia. Okay, Brevard, Seminole, Volusia, and Orange.
What are you guys doing to acquire deals now? What type of marketing channels are you using?
Mostly digital, and then bandit.
I was going to say, so pay-per-click is huge out there.
Mm-hmm.
Pay-per-click is, every time that I've had a mentee from Florida, pay-per-click is where it's at, to be honest with you. All right. And you're probably going to be between, as far as here, I'll look up some data when it comes down to pay-per-click, your cost per lead in Florida. Okay. I don't know what you're getting right now, but I'll look up some data. We're going to get into the intricate. I told you, you're not going anywhere. We're not going to let you just slide off.
You have no idea how just valuable this is. This is absolutely priceless. You have no idea. Like, Jamil, thank you.
So
thank you.
Yeah, your pay-per-click cost should be between $180 and $220. Are you around that right now?
So right now, I just asked him today. We're doing Facebook marketing, and it's $65. But it's just
That's a lot. That's a lot. Your cost per lead at $65 is a lot. You should be between $20 and $40.
Okay.
We do a lot of digital marketing.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, you should be between $20 and $40. And I'll tell you what, Facebook leads are tough, right? They're tough. Like, it takes us like 100 leads to get a deal from Facebook. Someone that's really big on Facebook leads also is Alex. He closes about 2 to 3 deals from Facebook every single month. And I can tell you that, it's a little tough. I'm not going to lie to you, but that's why we love pay-per-click. I mean, we've always been a pay-per-click company first. Okay. Now we transition into a cold calling company, right? But in order for you to have even a shot in Florida, you probably got to have at least 5 agents dialing for you in Florida. because Florida is a tough market. There's big spreads there. There's big spreads there. So your cost per lead as far as digital should be between 180 to 220, like I said. And I don't know who you're using. If you're paying more than that, go use Dave at magnusdigital.com. He's an ex-Marine. He runs Magnus Digital, Magnus Digital. Dave at magnusdigital.com. Talk to him. See if he can absolutely crush your cost per lead now. And if he could, great. And if he can't, then continue to use what you're using. And you should be closing. You should be closing 1 out of every 12 prospects as far as pay-per-click goes. Okay, that's what your staff should be closing.
Perfect. Love it.
Amazing. Stephanie, tell everybody how they can find you and what book you wrote.
Yes, I wrote a best-selling book called Unleash Your Lady Boss, and I actually just released my second book, The Boss Life Blueprint, in April. Wow. And I love helping women to win. And actually, a number of my guy friends have actually read both of my books, and they said, hey, just put guy in there, and we're good to go. So I love it. You can definitely follow me at on Instagram at ladyboss_SP. Otherwise, my website is thebosslife.tv, and I have a podcast, and I'm really dialing into the real estate space this year.
Amazing.
Can I say something?
We better watch out.
Yeah, Jamil.
Yeah,
I can tell when we have like a super massive operator in front of us. I can tell she's going to be a freaking monster in this game.
Dude, you don't honestly.
She's going to be a monster, bro.
The world, for real.
She's been helping me. She's been introducing me to publishers and helping me on the whole author side.
Jamil, you guys have no idea how much I want Jamil to get his book out into the world, because he is going to change millions of lives. I literally want to have. Let's go, Jamil.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for being a friend of the show. Thank you for being who you are, bringing the energy you brought, the question you brought here. I'm so happy you got the reality that you got. Not all of it is going to sit well, but you know what? The facts are the facts, and I think Carlos shot it to you straight. Yeah. I think Brent shot it to you straight. I think Paige shot it to you straight. These are the things that you have to focus on and actually look at moving forward to see what your operation is going to be like in the next 2 to 3 years moving forward.
Jamil, I think Stephanie is going to be a multi-million-dollar producer in this business. I think the two things that she just has to stick to is 1, consistency, and 2, perseverance, right? Because she has everything else. You can tell that she is a freaking headhunter. So if you just stay consistent in this business and you persevere and don't give up no matter what obstacles come your way, you're going to shine in this business. I can already tell. I promise you that.
Everybody go follow Stephanie.
Pay yourself, Stephanie. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. I am telling you, pay yourself. Okay. Don't just let it keep riding and riding and riding. Scrape it off. Pay yourself.
And stop, Stephanie. Please stop giving away positions. Right, positions like an acquisition manager. Stop giving away these massive percentages to positions. Okay. Like Paige said, that was right. I mean, that was right on the head. So do not give away as you're building a company, because that stuff starts to add up. Yeah. As you're building this company, you're going to be between, 17 to 20% in marketing costs. Mm-hmm. Your payroll percentage can go anywhere from 15 to 25. So you start giving away these positions, because you don't want to take a risk. Hey, I don't want to pay you a salary acquisition guy, but I'll pay you 20% of every deal. Then guess what? You're going to be making less than some of these people are. So just be careful. Okay.
Nope. That's super solid advice. Thank you, Carlos. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie, do us a favor and go into the comments, please, and type out your Instagram handle so we can share it on the feed here, because there's multiple people asking your Instagram handle again. They all want to follow you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Lady Boss.
God bless.
God bless you.
You know what's something awesome about that? This guy, she obviously knows what she's doing. She's obviously made income and done well for herself. but humble enough to get on here and ask these questions It's something that I find with all of us in here is we're constantly, whether we're networking or whatever else, we're asking the real questions. We're humbling. We're not sitting back there with a fixed mindset that says, I know everything. I know it better than Carlos. I know it better than Pace. I know it better than Jamil. No, we go in and we're like, whoa, what's going on? How are you doing that? How is that going? And then from there, everybody gets lifted up. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It doesn't make you look stupid. It makes you look really, really, really savvy and really interested in the answer. And that is so critical.
So, you know why? Because I've learned this the hard way, right? Poor people know everything and successful people know nothing, right? We're constantly learning. How many hours a day, how many hours per week are you dedicating to learning something new? Something like even something as simple as this. Guys, I've never read this book. I just started reading Principles by Ray Dalio. I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from just this book, right? So we're just students of the game, you know? And if you know how it is for entrepreneurs, if we're not growing, we're dying. Like we get frustrated, you know, we don't want to talk to anybody. We're not very nice people when we're not progressing. Right. And our fashion or our idea of progressing is growing. That's the only way we don't measure it by the money in the bank. We measure by what we're feeling. Am I learning? Am I growing? Am I progressing? That's how we measure our success.
And do you guys mind?
People ask me all the time, how do all you guys, like everybody that we socialize with, what drives you? Why actually the question is, do you guys ever stop? And I always say, we are temporarily amused and never satisfied. That is it. We are temporarily amused. We feel good for a moment, but we're not satisfied. So we continue to go further and further and further.
A lot of folks always ask, what's your schedule like? What's your morning routine like? Blah, 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 right? Just tell them this. I have this saying now. I don't know. I think I was like in theta wave. You know, Alex has been teaching me all kinds of stuff about meditation. And I said, you know what? Next time that somebody asks me, you know, what my schedule is like, I'm going to tell them eyes open to eyes closed.
There you go. All day.
Eyes open to eyes closed.
And
come
bro,
on.
Even things happen when you're sleeping too. Don't sleep on the subconscious, right? Everything
Absolutely.
you feed into your day is now ruminating in your mind and connecting to a greater field of energy. And so that's what I believe. And I think that it's always on. There's no schedule. You have to be. You aren't on. You have to be.
I think at some point you guys got to bring Alex on here so we can get really deep.
Dude, I just want to
Carlos,
Alex in a vortex in Sedona and just
he put me on this book. Look, he put me on this book, The Power of Your That's all he dedicates at least, I would say, 5 hours a day into this. At 23 years old, guys, I wasn't doing that stuff at 23.
Me neither. That cool. That guy
Carlos, will you say hi to this girl on the screen real quick?
Lauda Morby? Absolutely.
That's my wife. She's the one that told me
absolutely.
when she was in the bed at the hospital after she gave birth. She was the one that encouraged me to go to the All In event. We didn't know the baby was coming. I obviously signed up for your event years ago before I knew the baby was coming. But when our daughter came, my wife is the one that encouraged me to go and see you, Alex, and Sal speak.
Unbelievable. And you know why? Because behind every successful man, there is a reinforcing freaking, I don't know if it's a punching bag, but you're super, super strong woman. You know what I mean? That can put up with so much, right? Can put up with so much.
100%.
Very rare, very rare. And Laura, thank you for everything. Thank you for allowing them to go. This was 2018. I clearly remember. And it's been amazing. And hopefully, obviously, you know, everything's been a blessing since for everybody. So thank God.
Awesome. I think this is a question for everybody here who's doing cold calling. So I'd like to start with Brent and go to Carlos and then Pace. But you guys chime in. How many lists should people be calling every week?
Well, it depends on if you're calling yourself or if you've hired somebody. So let's go from the standpoint that you're calling yourself. I think when you start out, the way that we look at it, and Carlos was talking some of these numbers before about the 800 to 1,200 dials per day. typically you can call about 150 numbers per hour, okay? Which it usually comes out to about 50 addresses, because each address comes with on average 3 phone numbers. Or I encourage people to only upload the first 3 phone numbers, because the rest of it, the percentages, the ratio of it, the likelihood of that being the right number goes way down. And I don't want you wasting time. So if you're calling 50 addresses an hour, I only go through the list no more than 3 times. All right. 2 times preferably, no more than 3 times, because I don't want you wasting your time only talking to 2 or 3 people an hour. Now, this is with a triple line dialer. If you have something that's more robust, that's great, but I don't think you should go higher than a triple line, especially when you start out. So what I suggest you do is you get 3 different lists of 1,000 addresses each, and you start testing them out. And you want real life data on which one of these lists is totally beat up and which one of these lists are going to be open to some conversations. And sometimes you just feel better talking to somebody that's a pre-foreclosure than you do somebody that's a tired landlord. So it just depends. Test out certain things and just figure about 50 addresses an hour, go through it 2 to 3 times, and then get a new list. So, and test out 3 lists at a time.
Great. What about you, Carlos?
I'll tell you this much. What we do is we download the entire county, and we used to have 30 agents dialing. Now we have 25, right? We have 25 agents now, and man, we've re-uploaded that list like 18 times before, recycled and re-uploaded 18 times before, right? What I'd like to look at is 2 things: contact ratio, like we discussed earlier, and the health of the list. That's what I like to look at. I think you can upload as many times as long as those 2 factors are there. Your contact ratio is not falling below 7% as an average, right? Because you are going to have days where, people just don't want to pick up the phone, but then you're going to have days where it's like phenomenal. So that's what I would look at. I would look at those 2 determining factors, contact ratio and the health of your list. All right. So I've uploaded the same list 18 times before, because we download the entire county. You're talking, I think it was around 600,000 records. Or 6 million records. I don't even know. That's a Sal question, right? But we've recycled and re-uploaded up to 18 times. I remember that streak very well. So,
Pacer, I know this is more Cody's thing on your team, but what about you? We've seen a couple of different answers here. Brent's and Carlos's are a little different. Obviously, Carlos, running the size of team he's running, he has to download the entire county. But how about you? How do your team? Because you've got a smaller team. What does that look like, Pace?
I'd say we're about 1/3 the size of Carlos. We downloaded the whole list as well. Recently in January, we got the whole entire county. We are focusing primarily
so that
on
list is going around,
areas
huh?
that we actually want to flip. So East Mesa, Tempe, Scottsdale.
That list
South
is going
Central,
around.
like
Did you buy it?
I'm getting reverb. Sorry, guys. Skip over me, Jamil. Let me restart my computer.
No, you're good, Pace. We can hear you. Carlos had just commented that list has made its round. So, but it seems to still be working because everyone's getting deals from the town high school. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's okay.
It is actually very, very true. I mean, it comes down to consistency and timing, right? At the end of the day, is you've just got to be consistent and you've got to hit that seller right at the perfect timing. And if you're consistent, you're going to hit that timing properly. So,
love it.
Boom.
Real quick, Jamil, somebody said, do I not advocate list stacking? Absolutely. I love that. But when you're just starting out, I want you to keep your budget low. Once you start getting going in this, then you can get something like batch leads, right? That you can stack these lists in and get the multiple layers of distress. And when you get those are phenomenal because they've got a few different reasons to raise their hand that they want a cash offer. So it's absolutely phenomenal. I always come from a place of people getting their first deal. Carlos is on a whole nother level with having 25 callers and a big, robust team. You need data for these people. They will chew through it like crazy. Yeah. You need every county and every state probably he's going to get here eventually. But, Carlos, that list is going around, and we all have it.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny because everybody's like, hey, just don't tell nobody, right? And then it's like everybody has it, you know? Everybody paid the same price. I'm hoping. We're not going to put that on air for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jared Vidalis, I'll talk to you later.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. So I just want to take a pause, everyone. We've got nearly 500 live viewers on right now. I want everybody who's getting value from this show to do one thing right now, okay? Carlos Reyes wants to wake up tomorrow morning and have his phone explode with people tagging him, taking a picture of them watching this show, sharing it. Listen, guys, Carlos is a busy guy, and it was a blessing for us to have him on here. He's here dropping knowledge, giving you guys everything that he possibly has. You can tell he's not pulling any punches. He's giving it to you straight. So do us all a favor and show Carlos the appreciation he deserves. Take a picture of this while you're watching it. If it's now or on the replay or tomorrow, tag at Carlos.
Tag all of us. Tag all of us.
Your Instagram.
At Carlos Reyes.
At Carlos Reyes. There's a blue check mark if you don't know.
I had to freaking buy that name, by the way. Like, there were so many Carlos Reyes, so I had to pay for it. You know what I mean? But guys, I just want to say one thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. This has been probably one of my favorite like live podcast or interview, because I promise to God, and I'm sure, you guys have been on different podcasts. This is, man, it's so amazing when you're just in the same room as other people that understand the business, right? Because it's not just you talking, it's everybody's kind of, doing their thing, and everybody has some knowledge, and it's beautiful, man. I think that's how people are getting. Imagine if we were just in one room throwing like an event, like a live event or a pop-up or a meetup, and we're just going at it, right? Just like we are right now. This is amazing. Are you guys enjoying yourselves today? Because I sure so am.
I am having
incredible.
We look forward to this.
This is fun, man. This is so much fun.
So there was a question here, Carlos, and I think they were asking you, what are you paying your cold callers or your texters right now? People want to know what's an average going rate for that.
Yes. Easy question. So we use callgeeks.com, and we actually have 2 SMS VAs for $10 an hour, and we have obviously the 25 agents, and what that includes on the cold calling side, right? You can reach out to Jason. That's his guy. So I don't even know. It's support at thecallgeeks.com, right? So the guy's name is Jason. Let me say this. The 25 agents we have, they're absolutely trained. What I love about what Jason does with these people is he obviously trains them. He trains them, and then it's kind of turnkey, right? He provides the dialer, Zen call. He provides the dialer. He provides like supervision. They're all under one roof. They're not like, one guy's working here, one guy's working there. It's all under one roof. It's a huge office or whatever. And I just love the turnkey, right? Because at some point, yes, I cold called, TSB has cold called, you guys have cold called. And then we're like, okay, let's go the cheap route. Then we get the Asian VAs, the Filipinos, and, the $5-6 an hour guys. And then that takes your time, because you got to sit there and like train them. And just because you're trying to save a buck, and we know time is money. And then the other thing is, like, you can't depend on them. Like, they pull stuff out of their, what? Like, some guy won't show up, and then they just put somebody else in, and you're like, who the hell is this? So we've been through that. We've been through in-house cold calling, where we used to pay $1,600 a month plus 5% of the deal. And we finally, I cannot stress this enough, finally found the right guy, finally found the right person, Jason over at Call Geeks. And it's been amazing, man. The guy handles everything for us. You know what else he's starting to do for us, guys? He's starting to develop jacks for us. You guys know what jacks are?
No.
Junior acquisition managers.
Oh, okay.
So he's starting to develop.
I was like, what am I missing?
We started
Jacks.
Yeah, JA, junior acquisitions, right? So he started out with 3. And he, like, they're being trained. They're some of the like highest cold callers. Then he promotes them to jacks, and they're feeding us so many they're reviving, right? Because we have about, I can look at my podium, we have over 33,000 leads. our acquisition guys are constantly getting bombarded with new incoming leads every single day, right? How tough is it for them to go back and go back and go back? There's a lot of money in the follow-up. 40 to 50% of our revenue usually comes from the follow-up. So now Jason is starting to put Jackson there, and our acquisition guys are so happy because, you know, they're trained and they freaking like they revive these people and feed them right back. It's almost like an alley-oop, right back to the acquisition manager. Boom, let's close some more deals.
Pace and Brent, I think this one is a great question for the two of you. Pace, because I know we've talked about this before, when your team sends you out on a lead and, you know, you've had obviously good leads and you've had bad leads. And so would you describe to the people that are watching, what would you consider a solid lead?
Years ago, I would say it was motivation, price, and timeline all matched up. But now I don't care so much about price because I buy creatively a lot. So I care more about motivation and timeline. So if somebody says, yeah, I'd like a cash offer, but I don't want to move for a year, then we just put them into follow-up and nobody's going. I mean, 80% of our deals are done over the phone. The only time I go on an appointment is if it's a subject to or creative finance deal that needs to be structured face-to-face, which even at this point is starting to become rare. But I would say motivation is number one most important thing. Number two, timeline for us. I want to make sure that they're ready to go. They're already painting the picture of in their mind of where they're going to go in the next 90 days, where they're going to be living. And then honestly, I hardly ever, this is just me personally, we hardly ever get into the condition of the house over the phone before we start negotiating on price and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. What about you, Brent? What do you think?
Yeah, you got to pre-qualify. That's the biggest thing. When you talk about a lead, is it a pre-qualified lead? Is this a lead of somebody that will actually do business with you? And not only that, is it somebody that will actually do business with you soon, right? Because here's the thing, time kills all deals. Time kills all deals. You need to get there and you need to get in front, because if you don't, in this market, in just what's going on, there's going to be multiple offers. You get it. People get it. Time kills all deals. So on every single lead that we look at, or every single prospect that we have, is condition of the property, timeline to sell, motivation, and the price. We're trying to get those four things: condition, timeline, motivation, price. Just like Pace said, he hit on all of them. We try to pull it out. I like going with condition because it opens up the conversation. It's the easiest one of those four for them to start talking to you about, is, you know, what's going on with the property. And then from there, you can find out what is their problem. Remember, people will trade equity for speed and convenience. So find their problem. And then obviously here in price, it's really important if we're going to go for a wholesale deal, because you need to know if these people are going to be in the ballpark of where you want to be. And the only way to know that is to really pre-qualify them and then get in there, get them there. Try to pull the price out of them. But if you can't, you got to go in there and try to see, anchor as low as you can and see what they truly want to do. So it is absolutely critical that you pre-qualify every lead every time, or you will spin your wheels. Don't just go on an appointment because they were nice to you on the phone. Make sure this is somebody that'll actually do business with you, not because it wastes your time. It's going to waste their time as well.
Carlos, is there anything that
absolutely
didn't cover?
Sales is my thing. Like I love it. I love sales, and I can tell you they both were so spot on. And just to add to what Brent was saying, guys, something that I learned really, really on, you know, so I don't know if you guys know the story of, like, Jared's company and our company started together, right? And with Jesse, right? I was the acquisitions guy. You know what I mean? I was the guy bringing all the customer. Jared was like the investor, and I was the middle guy. I was the guy that was on their side, right?
Wait, who was Jesse?
Jesse Burrell?
Yeah, no, I know who Jesse Burrell is, but who was he? Like, what was
he was with Danny somewhere in the office. I don't know. It was just me and Jared, really. Right? So let me tell you this. One thing that I love to do, and this is a really good gym for a lot of folks out there that are in the trenches every day, doing virtual wholesaling. And when COVID, this whole thing blows over, back to a few appointments here and there, whatever. One thing that I love to let the seller do is for that seller to give me their repair estimates, right? Because like TTP was saying, let them tell you about the property, and I like to get granular, guys. I like to get so intricate where I'm like, hey, Brent, so, how's the air conditioning unit? What's Brent going to say?
Oh, it's great.
It's great. Oh, okay.
Doesn't need any repairs.
Yeah, let me notate that. And it's also good to have like a repair sheet, right? Like a good, it's good to have a repair sheet. So let me just say this. Okay, Brent, when was the last time it was serviced?
Oh, geez, maybe a couple of years ago.
Boom. When was the last time it was repaired or replaced? You see what I'm saying? Like you start to, now Brent went from like amazing to like, holy shit, I got a really old unit here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing with like, hey, how are your cabinets? Oh, they're so amazing and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, have you ever upgraded them, replaced them by any means? No, not really. They're in great condition though. Okay. Well, how long have you had them? Well, I've had them since I've had the house. Well, how long have you had the house? 20 years. You see what I'm saying? Right. And then see, you start. So now at the end of it, you just said, in your opinion, what do you think it would take, especially when there's a lot of repairs involved? What do you think it would take to, to bring this property up to market value? Let's just say that it's really about 20,000. They're like, oh, I'm thinking about $50,000. Well, what does that do right away? Right? Pew, right? That price now comes down, you see? So now you have a little more leverage. So I love doing that. But let's not forget, let's keep it simple. Just to add on the stuff that they added on, I like to qualify my leads under the 3 following temperatures. 1, a hot lead. We all know what a hot lead is, exactly what they said earlier, right? Time, motivation, property condition, etc. Those are easy. Those are like they're ready now, right? They're ready to go right now. And you better get them to sign that deal, or else someone else paces. If they get a hold of Pace next, or they get a hold of TTP next, they're closing that deal if you let them off the hook, right? Because they're a hot deal and someone's going to pick them up right away. And what I also want to encourage people is to spend at least a minimum from 12 to 20 minutes. Anything past that, they're not going to do this all over again with somebody else. Build that rapport. And you can't build rapport in 2 to 5 minutes, guys, right? So
right.
Back to what we were saying, as far as the 3 qualifications that I look for are the temperatures is 1, hot, 2, warm, which, a lot of your leads are going to be warm. Now that's where your sales skills come into place, right? Into play. Can I get this warm lead and transition them into a hot lead, right? And then 3 is, guys, the window shoppers. Don't get discouraged because you can't close a window shopper. They were never going to sell anyway.
Yep.
Like, don't get discouraged. Oh my God, I can't believe this. No, that was a window shopper. They weren't really interested. They just wanted to, just test their price or whatever, like move on, right? Focus on the warm and hot leads. The window shoppers, good luck trying to, they're not really closable. So that's kind of what I wanted to add to how to qualify solid leads. Sorry, that was a little bit longer than what we all expected, but I had to say that.
Awesome.
I love it.
Can I ask Jamil a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is like, I literally just got this text from Jackie, my lead manager, right? We just locked up this deal in Sun City. Okay. My acquisition manager sees her FaceTime me literally right before we got on here. The property's remodeled, but the cabinets aren't there. The appliances aren't there. They're there. They're just not installed, right? Somebody just needs to button this up. Okay. So Carlos, just to lay some groundwork here, we talk about this business in 3 parts: lead generation, which I talk about; conversion, which is what Paces talks about; and then disposition or exit strategy, which is what Jamil talks about. So a property like this, Sun City, who do I go? Who do I sell this to? What am I looking for? How do I make sure people aren't wasting my time? Like, who do you think is the right buyer for this thing that they just need to button it up a little bit? I got it locked up for 140, comps at 235.
Awesome. So first of all, your numbers are right in line, right? What your team did correctly was they didn't give them credit for all the extras that they said they have done. Let me tell you this, okay? And I had this conversation with the Paces team today that no matter what anyone tells you, a lipstick remodel is non-existent. All of them are going to require a full deal. The reason why is every investor their remodel, the level to which they'll want to remodel a property is going to vary. Everyone wants to do stuff the way they want to do it. So it doesn't matter what cabinets they've got there, what appliances they've got there, what flooring they've got there. They're going to want to do it to their quality, to their standards, to their finished trim that they would typically do. I would not give credit for that when I'm talking to a seller. However, when I'm going to exit, I would literally look at that and say, is this a deal that I want to dispo to my list? Or if I was Carlos, because I've been working with Jaden. Jaden and I have been dispoing deals together. We've been collaborating as of late, and I can see Jaden's busy doing a lot of wholesales, right? Because the all-in guys now have switched their strategy up a little bit, and they're now taking deals vertical. They're going wholesale. So, Brent, my suggestion in this situation is what is that turnaround going to look like? Could you effectively get into that project, get it done with all of the items that are there and wholesale it for the maximum profit? Or do you just wholesale it as a regular deal? I would look at the materials that are on site and what you're working with and make that decision from that point forward.
Say it looks good. Okay, say it looks good, Jamil. What do you think in your mind, and maybe Carlos for you too, and Pace for you too, because you've done 1 million remodels. What do you think if I could make 30 on a wholesale, how much would you guys want to have to make to do a wholesale? You know what I mean? It takes an extra month or whatever.
Would you say you can patch this thing up with like 12 grand?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking, 12 grand. Right now, people are being so conservative, right? A lot of people are kind of in the sideline. Everybody's scared. So they're like, you know, the days where you're like, oh, I can sell this thing and somebody's okay with like 10 to 12% on their money, right? 10 to 12% off the ARV or whatever, right? I think right now, believe it or not, people are like, I'll buy it if it's 15 to 20% on, you know what I mean? Like off the, you know, that I'm going to make. So what did you get it for?
140. I
think you can easily make 20,000 on this property.
I was just gonna say we could wholesale that for like 159.9.
159,550 is my number.
Okay, mine's 159,550
is my number. I just ran. I don't know if you heard me. 159,550 is what I had as a wholesale deal.
And I have 159,990, so I'll get you $440 more than Carlos.
Oh shit! ETP, you got yourself a good deal.
Yeah,
you got my play. A deal there, Brent.
Now, the thing I hate about Sun City is we all know the HOA is like what 4,000, 4,500. I don't even know what it is, right?
Yep.
But I think if you have the resources to take it down, brother, oh my God, you are going to make over 60. You're going to make about 60,000, between 60 to 67 grand on this deal, you know?
And Carlos just hit on something real important, guys. When there is retirement communities, oftentimes they have really, really big HOA transfer fees. Sometimes they're up to $4,000 or $5,000 every time it transfers to one owner to another owner. So definitely look for that and find that out before you run your numbers, because it does matter for sure.
TTP, I would see what the average days on the market is right now for Sun City. You know, I would just look at that. And what I would do is if I were in your shoes, I would take that bad boy down. Like the only
issue I have is snowbirds are not here starting now.
It's too hot. It's
right?
Too hot. You're
right. So who's buying properties in that area? It's very seasonal.
Yep.
So it's something to think about.
Yeah, but I think if you price it right, I think you'll get rid of it, right? Because right now, what do they say? Get greedy when people are fearful, and be fearful when people are greedy. I think there's some, smart investors out there that are being greedy in a good way. They're like, you know what? If somebody like what's his name? What's his name? Of course I know them. Zach Keeps. He would probably jump on this thing. Jump on this thing at the right price. Sun City is a little bit of a pain in the butt because of different things like the HOA. But man, I think it's a good acquisition for you.
Yep.
I want to answer this question because this one makes me laugh a lot. Chris, I appreciate you asking it because it's a real one. What's the minimum profit you consider doing a wholesale deal before you pass on it? Brother, anything over what the contract is.
1,500, whatever pays
honestly, I've done a deal for free for the experience. You do,
or to keep
Or to
your buyer
serve the
happy, right?
customer.
Sometimes you get
or
a
to
buyer
make a
that
seller
needs a
happy,
deal.
or to make a buyer happy, or whatever it
To
is.
serve the customer. Yes, sir.
Say that again,
100%.
Pace.
So sometimes you'll get buyers that are hungry for deals, and if you can get a deal and break even or make a couple $100 on it, you might as well get the deal done, make the seller happy, and then make your buyer happy at the same time, because they'll keep coming back and keep developing that relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Carlos, you feel the same way?
We've done deals where it was really tough to move. We should have probably called Keegley, right? It was really tough to move, so we just there's been times where we just do the deal for $0 or $100 just to move the deal, to provide the service for the customer, especially if they've already started transitioning and moving out of the property and making their adjustments, right? Just do it. It doesn't matter. Just do it.
Love it. Love it. Guys, we are a couple minutes away from the end of the show. I can't believe an hour and a half went by that fast.
I thought it was like 30 minutes.
For real. We've had
we're not going to pull a pace, right? Go like a 16-hour shift, or there has to be a record.
You heard about that, huh?
There has to be some kind of record somewhere.
I don't know.
If there's a record
on Facebook, otherwise I would have kept going longer. Facebook was like, "This is too long. We're kicking you off."
Pace, how many hours of sleep do you get?
I like 4 hours probably a night.
Is that good?
I mean, 5 hours would be ideal. Sometimes I wake up because you know how it is. Like, you have so many things going on. You get antsy, not anxious, but antsy to get like working on the day.
Yeah.
And the only time I get any personal time to read or watch videos or clear my inbox or plan my day or plan my week is sometimes at 3 to 5 in the morning. It's the only time where you don't have anything else distracting you.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It was the value marathon of all value marathons, Pace. You made us all feel bad about ourselves that we weren't not working hard enough. But brother, I commend you.
Basis. He makes me feel bad on a daily basis. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, what is going on?
Guys, this here that you guys have. Who came up with this idea, by the way?
It happened. It happened. It was amazing. It happened. Actually, I made a YouTube video about how it all came to be, but the inspiration came from Sunday service. Actually, I was on a show with Pace, and he had a section in the show where people would call in, and I had so much energy from that section of the show that when it was over, I asked Pace if we could just do that all day, like just.
I can tell you this has to be probably, like, as far as live type of deal. This has to be like my favorite concept.
I appreciate that.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Carlos, people are asking about the Closer Olympics, and we can't let you. And first of all, it's a travesty that the man beside me over here isn't on it. I'm gonna lay that down. But secondly, let's talk about picks. Who's gonna win it? You guys are the two judges. You guys are 2 of 3 judges on there. Talk about Closer Olympics, what it's about.
Let's do it, because if this was my event, I would have had Pace on there. This is not my event, right? I'm a judge just like Brent and Max. I feel like Pace is one of the best closers in the country, alongside some of the All In guys, of course, that's being biased, but they're closers.
Hey, I love all your boys. Your boys are
you're
so excited to watch those guys.
You're a closing machine, and I would have definitely picked him. And I think that the next one, I know for a fact he definitely should be on there.
Well, behind the scenes, honestly, guys, Pace would love to do this, because obviously Pace is not scared of being live, making calls.
Closing deals, yeah.
But he's dedicated. He just came out finally with his Subject 2 course, which has just been, it's been like a week, and people are already calling him, having him like help him close deals. So he's really focused on that. He's pouring into his students. So this time around, he's not able to do it, but maybe next time around, or he'll be a judge. Who knows? But we're really, really fortunate. We have amazing 12 competitors. We talk about this all the time. Lead generation is one thing, but if you can't close a deal, you're going to be spending way more money. Your profits are going to go way lower. So definitely for $97 at closersolympics.com, it's 2 full days of people live calling distressed property owners,
Different styles.
getting them converted. So it's incredible.
Hey, Carlos and Brent, what's the format?
Well, so it starts with 12. It's kind of like a real tournament, right? It's like a real. It's so crazy. Like these guys, the way they came up with this. We did this press conference. It was so much fun. It was way more than I expected, right, Brent?
Yeah,
and I agree with my man. He just said, you got freaking Adrian Salgado, who I personally have witnessed bring millions to the table, right? This guy has had multiple months where he brought in over 200,000 in gross revenue by himself, right? So you got a guy like Adrian Salgado in the first round going against Keith Everett, who is the guy's a closing monster too. I mean, it's insane. It's going to be insane. You got 12 people, so it's 6 matchups, right? And then boom, the winner goes on to it's elimination process. So that's kind of the format. It's going to be amazing.
There's a 20-point scoring system. I put in the 20 points. Carlos, Maxwell puts in 20 points. You add them up. Whoever has highest against head-to-head goes to the next round until the end of the May 20. This is May 23rd and 24th, guys. If you want to watch it, it's closersolympics.com. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. There's not going to be a replay, so you have to watch it live and take a lot of notes. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Imagine witnessing 12 closers across the country with 12 different styles, and then you look into the rapport building, and you look into their tonality, and you look into the way they paint the picture, and you look at how they close, right? And you look at their approach, their opening contact. You start to look at all these things from these people. You're gonna leave that place with just being a monster. Like all these notes, like, well, he does this and he does very well. I think I can, I can do this. So it's gonna be so much fun, man.
It's actually Closers. If you guys are watching the screen, Closers, Liana, Olympics. Trust me, I typed that in first too, and it went somewhere crazy. Closers Olympics for sure. Thank you for mentioning it, Jamil.
Closersolympics.com, guys. I have my money on the finals being Steve Trang versus Elijah Rubin. That's what I foresee, guys. I think Steve is one of the best sales trainers out there. And Elijah Rubin has a magnetic. Something about Elijah Rubin is magical, right? He's this guy who has this really magnetic personality. And I think that he gets people excited, and it would be really interesting for me to see that high energy close versus that systematic, really technical close. And I would love that head to head in a finals. Everybody, by the way, they're on there for a reason. Every one of them is a beast, and I didn't mean that as shade on anybody who's They're all the best, but my money is going to be on the finals being between Steve Trang and Elijah Rubin. That's what I think.
But by the way, can I ask a question? Who's been on this? This? What do you guys call it? Is it a podcast? Is it a show? It's a show, right? It's a show.
It's a show and a podcast. Yep.
Okay. All right. So it's a showcast, right? So, who's been on it since the beginning? Because you know what? I'm telling you, man. Like the hour and a half that we've been on here, if you didn't learn, I mean, we dropped some intricacies about this business, right? It was like the Harvard University of a podcast and a show. Like really, like we went in. So whoever was in here from start to finish, and you really take this information. Most importantly, you implement and execute, right? Because knowledge is not power if you don't implement and execute. Guys, I promise you this: you're going to be in a really good position here in the next 30 to 60 days.
100%.
Guys, remember, take a picture of this and blow Carlos's Instagram up. Guys, look, I've never heard him say that he thought it was the best anything. Carlos doesn't say stuff like that.
I haven't had this much fun ever.
He's very conservative. I've never heard him say that. So, guys, everyone, give him love. Thank him for all of the knowledge he gave us today, all those gems you dropped. Brother, you are an inspiration to every single one of us. We all appreciate you, brother. We love you. We love you, bro.
Love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And man, this right here, this concept, I can see why you guys get so many people on here. It's so much fun. You get the crowd involved, you get the audience involved, and I mean, you're bringing on real players, which I respect. That's something Steve Trang did really early, right? He's like, you know what? I'm not bringing you on my show unless you're a real player. And because, guys, you guys would destroy somebody if the guy's not real. Look, look at it. I got goosebumps. Like, you cannot come on this thing and not be real.
Yes.
Right?
No, you couldn't hack it for an hour and a half.
You guys would eat him alive, and you would probably cut the show like 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Love you guys, man. God bless all of you. God bless the audience.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Forward.
Wholesale Hotline 13. It's been a blast. See you, everybody.
Bro.
See you guys.